Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Dr. Tom LaHue. We're going to be talking about Enneagram Type 1s today, the perfectionist, the reformer, the moralist, and we're going to be looking at the superpowers of Enneagram Type 1. So if you are a Type 1, I hope this is a positive video for you, encouraging you, showing you some of your strengths and what you bring to the table. I don't want you to beat yourself up and put yourself down, and sometimes in my videos I talk a lot about the blind spots of all the types. And so in this series, I wanted to stay positive. I wanted to stay focused on the blessing that you are in this world. So if you are a 1, I hope this is encouraging to you. If you're, married to a 1, or you have a kid or a parent or somebody in your family that's a Type 1, this is all about seeing the best in Type 1s today. Just a reminder, in the description below is a link to my website, tomlahue.com. I do Enneagram and relationship coaching. So if you want to reach out to me, I would love to talk with you. You can book a single appointment, or you can book 3-week, 6-week, 12-week plans. And also I got a lot of courses and all kinds of information there to help you and encourage you. And of course, if you want to invite me to come speak to your team, I'd love to do that as well. Thanks to my patrons. Okay, so let's jump into this information today. And let's talk about you guys, you Type 1s. And I just want to begin by saying I do have a lot of friends that are 1s. My older brother is a 1-wing 9. I grew up with him. And in my tri-type, I'm a 7-1-4. So I got a lot of 1 myself. So, all right, let's look at the 6 superpowers. This comes from an Instagram post that I posted recently. If you haven't liked or followed my Facebook or Instagram page, those links are in the description below. I've spent a lot of time working on YouTube and haven't spent as much time, investing in Instagram. And so I've really been trying to step up my game on those platforms as well. I'd appreciate it if you would like and follow. Okay, so this is a post that I posted on Instagram about Type 1s and 6 different superpowers. Of course, this isn't an exhaustive list, but this will get us started. This will get us going in the right direction. And so number 1 on that list is integrity. Integrity. Actually, let me just go ahead and tell you the whole list, and then we'll go back through them and talk about them, okay? So number 1 is integrity. Number 2 is attention to detail. And 3 is principled. 4 is motivated by a sense of justice, or you could say a sense of rightness. 5, responsible. And 6, resilient. Okay, don't panic. We're going to go over all of those in this video. And I am looking at my notes, so if you see me looking away, that's what I'm doing. Okay, I'm not that distracted, but I am a little bit distracted. Okay, number 1, integrity. So integrity is an unshakable commitment to your convictions, to your values. And I would note that when I've talked to 1s, it's not like, they believe I'm right and everybody else is wrong. It's more like I've worked hard to figure out what is right, and I want to be on the side of what is right. Why wouldn't you want to be on the side of what is right? So I don't think it's like 1s are I'm right and everybody else is wrong, but I work hard to try to make sure that I align myself with what is right, with what is correct, with what is responsible. And it could be confusing, I'm sure, for 1s when they first learn about the Enneagram to realize other people don't do this? Why wouldn't everybody do this? I mean, doesn't it make the most sense that if you know something is right, that you would then try to align yourself with it? And you're right. Often what I say to 1s when, I'm in discussion with them is, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. Just realize that for a lot of the other types, aligning themselves with what is right is not necessarily their highest priority. And I know that sounds I'm sure that sounds kind of crazy to somebody who is a Type 1, but let's just say it this way, that doing what is right or responsible may not be the loudest voice that's in somebody's head. They have a lot of motivations, and the one of doing what you ought to do may not be the loudest motivation in their head. So for Type 1s, I think it is like wanting to do what is right, wanting to be on the side of what is correct, and believing that you should live an honest and upright life. And there may be different ways to define that. I mean, everybody kind of has their own rule book they live by. And even if you don't think you have a rule book, you do. It could be based on something solid or permanent, like a religious book like the Bible or the Quran or something like that. But even if you don't have an organized, systematic platform on which you stand of a moral ethical code, that doesn't mean you don't have a moral ethical code. You do. And you may not have really thought it through, or other people may not have really thought it through, but there's something that's guiding your behaviors. You know, everybody wants to be on the side of what is right. It's just, how are you defining what is right and wrong? Well, you got to have some kind of, information or source that you're depending on. And that's a good thing to think about. We could just stop and think about that all day. Like, what are you basing your right and wrong on? Is it just whatever feels good in the moment, or is it whatever, is, exciting or interesting to you, or whatever was passed down to you from your parents? And so everybody needs to think through these important thoughts, these important things, is like, what is it that's guiding, what principles are guiding my behaviors? And sometimes you're not even really aware of those foundational assumptions, but we all have them. And it's good for us to stop and think about those from time to time. And you guys as type 1s, I think my guess is you've probably formulated those and have a systemized way of thinking about what is right and wrong. And so living a moral, upright life, adhering to the principles, your values, your convictions, even when it's not convenient. So what does that mean? Don't cut corners. And a lot of people would cut corners. A lot of people would say, well, this will get me the results I want. And so even if it isn't, technically the right way to do this, or maybe it might be coloring a little bit outside the lines, my goal here is to get the challenge accomplished. And I think as ones, you could have a real problem with that pragmatic way of thinking, much more idealistic in your thinking. Like, no, stay aligned with what is right, even if it's not easy. Even if it's difficult, even if you have to pay a little bit more, you got to make sure that you do things the right way. And just realize that integrity is a wonderful thing. It is a wonderful thing. And I know you probably get beat up sometimes in your work environment or your relationships because you won't compromise, or you have a problem with compromising your standards. And just realize that the rest of us need to be more like you, okay? Let's just realize that the rest of us should formulate our convictions a little bit stronger. We should live by those convictions even when it's not easy, and even when it's not difficult. And so hats off to you guys, applause to you guys. Now, maybe you could be a little more gentle in the way you share those convictions and criticisms, but this is a video that's supposed to stay positive, so we're not gonna dogpile on you about that. Let's just say at this point, number one superpower that type 1s bring into the work environment, bring into the world, it's a wonderful thing that you guys share with the rest of us, is this value for integrity. Say what you mean what you say. Integrity is such a wonderful thing. And look, so needed in our culture right now, so needed in our world right now. So many organizations, companies, having problems and having all kinds of difficulties because they don't have integrity. I mean, think about like the Enron scandals, and it doesn't end with Enron. I mean, so many companies are having problems because of lack of motivation, lack of discipline, lack of support, lack of integrity. And you guys bring this into your work environment. You should be rewarded for this. I hope that that's what you find. Okay, number 2, attention to details. Wow, details. I'm a 7, and sometimes details can feel difficult for me. It can feel, I feel like if I've pretty well mastered it, then I've pretty well mastered it. But those details, sometimes they always say the devil is in the details. And you as a type 1 probably are a little more detail oriented than I would be. So let's read what I have here in my post about details. Type 1s are detail oriented and organized. Now, sometimes I've met some ones who don't come across all that organized, and it may be because they're a 1-wing 9. They have a lot of that 9 wing of we'll do it tomorrow. But sometimes when you're a perfectionist, it can cause you to kind of like stagnate or stale or not move forward, because if you're a perfectionist, it can be hard to Sometimes it can be hard for perfectionists because, where do you start? You've got this mountain of stuff that has to be done, and you can beat yourself up that you don't have it done already, and it just seems like, oh my goodness, what a big insurmountable task. So because I'm a perfectionist, it could cause me to like stall and not move forward and sort of delay. And maybe even like have a hard time having conversations with people, because if I don't get it right, if I don't handle it correctly, I kind of fear that this could go wrong. And so that perfectionist tendency could keep you from sometimes moving forward, but we're going to keep this video positive. So attention to detail. Their attention to detail ensures they deliver high quality work, and their organization skills makes them efficient and reliable. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that in an employee? Who doesn't want that in a manager? If I'm going to turn the keys of my business over to somebody, I want somebody who has integrity. I want somebody who shows attention to detail. And that's why with a 1 that you can leave your business with them, and they're going to make it better than when you gave it to them. They're going to organize it, clean it up, take care of it, and make it better. I've got a friend who's a type 1, and he was willing to do some work around the house. I was on vacation. I didn't worry at all about giving him a key to the house, and just told him, make yourself at home, make yourself comfortable, because I know he's going to do a good job, he's going to be reliable, he's going to lock the doors up, and he's going to leave things better than he found them. Not only did he fix the pool motor, but then he put the vacuum in the pool to make sure that when I got home, the pool was clean. That's type 1 beauty at its best. Reliable, responsible, integrity, and attention to detail. Thank you, guys. Thank you for doing that. All right, number 3, principled. Number 3 is principled. A strong sense of right and wrong. Their moral compass is firm, and they hold themselves and others to high standards. Now, this is going to help you accomplish so much in life. This is going to help you achieve and move forward and be productive and be successful. But sometimes this could work against you in terms of accomplishing goals, because again, if you're not willing to cut corners, you might get frustrated when people outpace you or outperform you because they're willing to do what you're not willing to do. And I don't want you to panic about that. I want you to just resolve that you're doing the right thing. And sometimes it's the tortoise and the hare principle, and you're going to get there eventually. And I don't want you to feel like you have to compromise your values or compromise your convictions in order to get ahead in the world. Bring your convictions and share them with the rest of us. Do it in a loving and compassionate way, and inspire the rest of us to formulate those convictions and to live by right and wrong, and live by our convictions as well. But principled, what a wonderful thing. We need a lot more principled people in this world. Principled neighbors, principled politicians, principled pastors and police officers and fire. Everybody in our community would benefit. And think about the medical profession. Do you want the medical profession cutting corners? Do you want your surgeon or doctor to say, oh, well, it's mostly right. Oh, well, we've pretty well got it figured out. Hope for the best. We're going to go ahead and do that surgery. No, you want somebody who is principled, somebody dedicated, somebody who gives attention to detail. Do you want your airline mechanic or your pilot to be somebody who doesn't care about these things? No, of course not. So what a wonderful blessing you bring into the world and can share with the rest of us and inspire us to remember that we should have core values and we should live lives aligned with those core values. All right, number 4, motivated by a sense of justice. So what do we have so far? Just review. 1, integrity. 2, attention to detail. 3, principled. And 4, motivated by justice. When you hear that word justice, we often think of type 8s, sometimes 6s, fighting for justice or fighting to make things right. But type 1s deeply desire a fair world, and that people are treated fair, and that people are treated responsibly, and that people color inside the lines and they don't, abuse one another or mistreat other people or take advantage of them in order to get ahead, that they don't oppress people. And what a wonderful thing to bring into this world, this sense of justice, this sense of abiding by the laws. What you sow is what you reap, that people ought to receive the consequences, whether they be positive or negative, a strong sense of boundaries. And type 1s desire a fairer world, and they work tirelessly to correct those injustices that and are often drawn to causes or work that supports this passion. Think like, for example, like I mentioned, law. Or police departments, or military. Something that is designed to say, look, you broke the rules, you're going to have to pay the consequences. You pay the consequences, then fair enough, you're able to move forward and get back on your feet and step up to the plate. And I was thinking like the school principal, or even school teachers. That is just so in line with these kinds of values. So integrity, attention to detail, principled, and then motivated by a sense of fairness, rightness, justice, or people doing the right thing and being responsible. Okay, number 5, responsible. If we haven't said it enough times, there's actually one of these that is set aside for just this word, responsible. Do you as a type 1 want to others to believe about you that you're an irresponsible person? Oh wow, Tammy is not a responsible person. She doesn't mean what she says. She says she's going to show up at 9 and she really shows up at 10. No, I'm sure that bothers you. 1s, 3s, and 5s are in a group called the competency types. And 5s, it's like competent in their information and their knowledge. 3s, competence in their performance and in their abilities. And then I think 1s, primarily, it's about being competent in being responsible. And like, my word is my bond. I said I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up. I said I'm going to pay that bill. I'm going to follow through. I'm going to pay that bill. Responsibility. Look at our culture again. So much irresponsibility. So much credit card debt. I don't want to beat you up if you have a lot of credit card debt. I know sometimes you have to do what you got to do sometimes. But there's a difference between an emergency and paying off a bill and just going out and pretending that you have a lot more money than you actually have and going out and racking up a lot of debt. That's very irresponsible. It's very irresponsible to not take responsibility for your kids or not take responsibility for your family and to just say, oh, well, that's somebody else's problem. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go, book that cruise or do that, that fun vacation. No, responsibility is about owning your life and owning the consequences for your choices. We all are free to make whatever choices we want to make, but we're not free to choose the consequences of those choices. We have to live with the consequences. And sometimes we live with consequences of other people's choices. But that willingness to accept responsibility, what a wonderful thing you bring into the world. And something you could remind the rest of us that we need to be more willing to do that. So responsibility. Type 1s take their commitments seriously and generally are dependable and reliable people. I think you share this in a lot of ways with type 6s who tend to be very concerned and very responsible as well. When they say they're going to do something, they tend to follow through. And again, if you were trying to hire a manager, just think about it like that, or a good employee, do you not want this entire list? Don't you want a manager that has integrity? Don't you want a manager that shows attention to detail, that is principled, that is motivated by a sense of fairness? Oh, well, if this person asks for the day off and the other person comes later and asks for the day off, I should give it to the person who asked first. That's only fair. Don't you want a manager or an employee that has a sense of fairness and responsibility? Don't you want a manager that take over your business, one that is responsible and who's willing to take responsibility for their decisions? Of course. So again, look at these wonderful strengths that you bring into the world. And then the last one is resilience. I love the concept of resilience. I have a whole course on demand and live on Zoom on Invincible You, resilient mindset coaching, because I've had to learn firsthand that when you get knocked down, you got to get back up. You got to renew that positive mindset. You got to start moving forward again. You can't just, wallow down there in that moody, emotional stuff. And look, guys, when you think about type 1s, you guys have a line to 4. And under stress, you might look a little bit more like a 4. Moody, disappointed, frustrated, feeling like you're not fitting in like other people, or doing they get the benefits and you get stuck with all the consequences and difficulties, and just a general sour disposition. And there might be times in your life when you need to say, you know what, I need to throw this off. I need to come back into my 1 space. I would benefit from being a little more 7-like, a little more lighthearted, a little bit more positive thinking. And resilience is all about you getting back up. You're going to get knocked down. You are going to get knocked down. You're going to be criticized. People are going to say bad things and falsely accuse you of things, and it's going to be frustrating. You're going to be, just upset and generally, disappointed with sometimes the people at work or in your relationships. And I talk to a lot of ones when I do Enneagram and relationship coaching. I talk to a lot of ones that, are feeling frustrated with people in their life who aren't taking responsibility for themselves. And I would just remind you that, if you think about your wings, you have a 9 wing and a 2 wing, and the 9 wing kind of reminds you to let stuff go and to try to let other people live their lives and to be more accepting and understanding. And then your 2 wing says love people. Don't just preach sermons to them, but love them and genuinely care for them. But we're going to keep this positive. I don't want to criticize you in any way. Just wanted to show you that there are some rules to this Enneagram thing. The 9 wing, the 2 wing, this line to 7, the line to 4. It's all important. It all helps you. Just think of this one simple thing, okay? And if you stayed with me this long in this video, this one idea is going to be worth it all, okay? Think about as a type 1. You're motivated by this sense of doing the right thing and being responsible and, attention to detail, integrity, all this. But just listen to the wisdom of, for example, 7 and 9. You have a line to 7. At your best, you look like a 7. Upbeat, positive, fun-loving. You let your hair down, more fluid in your thinking. Just listen to these 2 questions, okay? Listen to these 2 thoughts. If you get to some place in your life as a 1 and you're not feeling very happy about life, you're feeling kind of stuck, frustrated, irritated, disappointed, or you're feeling like you don't have a lot of peace in your life, just remember that, you need to listen to that 7 voice and that 9 voice. You have lines and connections to these other types. And just think, when you're not happy in life, that wasn't your goal. And if you don't have peace in your life, that wasn't your goal. And so make those a little bit higher priorities in your life. Yes, do the right thing. Yes, be responsible, but also remember to take time to intentionally focus on the things that make you happy and on trying to develop peace with others. I know that sometimes it can be so frustrating when people don't do the right thing, and you might want to just cast them off. You might just want to say, you know what, you're gone from me, or you're dead to me, and I just release you but just think about that harmonizing 9 right next to you that wants to make everything okay. And there's times when you need to cut people off, but there's other times when you need to stay with them and work through it. And wing 2, show love to them, even when, they can sometimes drive you mad or drive you crazy. All right, so resilience, let me just read that. When faced with challenges, type 1s use their inner sense of purpose to overcome those challenges. They possess a strong determination and will rarely back down from a challenge that aligns with their principles. If it's the right thing, it's the right thing. And you know what? I'm the first one to say, when you're right, you're right. And when I'm wrong, I have no defense. And so there's a lot I can learn from you guys as type 1s. I've got a strong line to 1, but I'm not a 1. I'm trying to learn the wisdom of the 1. So this unwavering dedication to your values and this persistent pursuit of fairness and rightness makes you invaluable members of our team and invaluable members of our community. It's these superpowers of integrity, attention to detail, principled, motivated by justice, responsible, and resilient that allow you to make such a significant impact and inspire others to strive to be what only we could hope to be at our best. So thank you again for watching this video. I hope it's encouraging to you. I appreciate you and thank you for being a part of my Enneagram community. And as always, I'll see you guys next time, and don't forget to be present to life.